Hello, everyone. Welcome to Self Love You. My name is Jenna Ryan, and I am here today with this podcast to talk to you about what is on my mind. I'm getting ready for a little procedure that I'm having tomorrow. By the time you get this audio or this podcast, I will be out of the procedure. I'm excited. Anyway, I'm sitting here just trying to cook dinner and having some friends over and trying to cook dinner, and I just keep thinking, here's how my mind works. All of a sudden, I'll just pop up an idea. An idea will pop up, and I'll be like, I need to do a video about that. And then another idea will pop up, and I'll be like, I need to do a video about that. But I'm cooking this tortilla soup. My tortilla soup, I made this up. Well, I copied a restaurant, but I've been making it for years. And I was like, I'm making my tortilla soup. I don't have any time to do that. And then my brain all day long, constantly just sits here and creates these ideas and these things that I want to convey and that I want to share. And I'll be thinking about my life. And then all of a sudden I'll be like, I've got to do a video on that. I'm like, no, you don't have time. You're making this dinner for your friend tomorrow. And then I'm like, you got to. And I'm like, I have to do it. So here we go, folks. I'm going to go ahead. I've been wanting to talk about this for so long, and I'm just going to do it because now's the time. So here's the deal, okay? I'm going to talk to you about, it's a level, okay? I need to make it, I can't cook and talk at the same time. It's a level. It's a level of existing where you're focused on image. You're focused on externals. And it's this really fine line because I am totally all for looking as good as you can and being attracted to people and whatnot. But when you are raised in a narcissistic environment and culture, there is a tendency to make selection in your romantic partners based upon narcissistic criteria. And if you do it too much, you will end up in this level that is super shallow. And I think all my thoughts are coming together. Okay, so basically, when you're choosing someone based upon their social status, not that social status is bad, but if you pick social status over character, then there's a problem. Or because of the way they look, there's nothing wrong with good looks. Nothing wrong at all. I think everyone should try to look as good as possible, but that should not be the main criteria, because at the end of the day, what are you going to get? A good-looking creep? A beautiful biatch, someone who, uses you for your money and, cheats on you, and you can't stop from being in love with her. Is that what is that what you're here for? No. So there is this realm that I had to pull out of. I was in this realm, and I think what it's caused by is really thinking that you're validated through another person. That if you can get this other person to fall for you and marry you or love you or buy you a ring or, go out with you, a guy looking for a trophy, right? Or a girl. If you can get this person, then that validates you and that makes you worthwhile. And it's only how it looks on the outside. It's not the inside. It's just how they look. It looks like you're validated. And at the end of the day, you might feel validated for a minute, but ultimately, if you haven't checked beneath the hood and if your priorities are out of place, then you're going to be with someone who looks fabulous, but doesn't have the qualities and the characteristics and the traits that are most important to you. And there was a lot of years where I went to therapy. And I've talked a lot about that on the channel. And one of the things I did in therapy is I realized that I was making relationship decisions based on the wrong criteria. I was making like and I knew it and I felt it. And I was like, how do I stop doing this? I didn't know how to stop. Okay. I didn't know how to stop being only attracted to the external at the expense of who the person was inside. This was me. This was my flaw. This was a character flaw within myself that I recognized and decided to work on. And some character flaws can be inherited because of the culture, because of what you thought was important. And character flaws are not the end of the world if, and only if, you recognize a character flaw and you take action and take steps to correct within. If you have insight and you really want to become the best person you can become, then you can grow and you can heal and you can move beyond the surface, beyond the shallow in relating, and onto more meaningful, deep connection. So in the dating world, in the dating scene, and on the dating websites, I hear a lot about girls who are always wanting the guy that looks like this. He's got to be 6'4", okay, and all this stuff. But what good is someone who is 6'4", who is not able to be faithful, and who lies every time they open their mouth? But they're 6'4", and you get to bring them to the party, and you get to take pictures with them and post them on Snapchat or TikTok or Instagram or wherever it is that you are, you're getting your validation from, or creating your content and existing online. You can, you get to show the world, and the world will think, wow, you're a really good girl. You've got a really tall boyfriend. But does that tall boyfriend keep you warm at night when he's off cheating? Or does that picture do you any good whenever he's being unfaithful? I'll tell you the answer. The answer is no. It doesn't do any good. And so if it doesn't do any good, then it's really a waste of energy. What you've gotten, and I want to go ahead and use an example of a guy, a man. You're 50 years old, you're going through a midlife crisis, you're feeling less than, you're feeling like you're going to lose your manhood. You feel like you're moving into a different phase of life, and you feel like you need to go get this young girl who will validate and make you feel like you're worthy, like you're valuable, like you are somebody. And so you leave your wife, or, you pass up really good opportunities with beautiful women who don't have, and you choose somebody, you keep choosing over and over, somebody who is young, beautiful, gorgeous, but they're using you and they're bad for you. I've met people like this. Either they're using you, or no matter how many girls you go through, you never can find the right one. And that's because you're looking for the wrong thing. Because beauty is, beauty is skin deep, okay? Beauty is skin deep. Not to say that you can't have, whenever you have your priorities in order, you become attracted to a different type of person, and the looks are not all that matters. So the more mature you get, the more character you build, the more you realize the importance of the skill set of connection, the more smarter you get, and the better you pick, the better picker you have. Okay, I've got to cut really fast. Maybe I should put this on pause, but I only have to do I'm cutting zucchini. Okay? Okay, here I go. Okay, so the more you mature, the better you're able to pick people that are going to be able to A, meet your needs, B, that communicate, C, that are going to stick around and be there for you, D, that are not going to just be, temporary fixes, that aren't just going to be like a trophy. You don't need validation. Once you're healed, once you know who you are, you're enough value. There's no if. It's not going to be like, oh, when I get my new house, somebody's going to love me. Oh, when I get these abs of steel, somebody's going to love me. Oh, when I get this great guy, then everybody will know. Oh, when I meet this woman who has got this banging physique, oh, then I will believe I'm worthy. Or then everybody else will think I'm worthy. And this can be very much embedded into culture, obviously. It's super embedded. But you have to pull yourself out of culture and realize that the people that are happy in this world are not shallow. That is very shallow. Because what are you going to do? Let's say you're the most gorgeous person in the world, but you have nothing underneath that beauty. Because all of your time is spent looking gorgeous, trying to look gorgeous, look. Always everything is all about externals. And you don't work on your passions. You don't even have any passions. You've got really big, plump lips, but no passion. You've got, huge biceps. We'll say you're a guy, huge biceps. And you can post on Facebook better than anyone, day after day, pictures of yourself, and fabulous. I mean, there's nothing wrong with working out, but how is that going to compute in a relationship? How is that going to contribute to a relationship? It's not, and it's just vanity, and it's very shallow. So I had to learn this, and I think that once you start to really examine this within yourself and begin to see it, then you can fix it. And then you start not only letting other people into your life that may not have what you thought you had to have in order for you to feel worthy, but you also kind of loosen up on yourself. So you don't expect yourself to be so physically perfect. And whenever you give yourself some room and you body positivity, and you begin to just look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love who you are. You're okay just as you are. You're fabulous. And you do not need gigantic lips. And you do not need this. I say this as I go, nobody's perfect. I'm not saying that you don't want to take care of your clothing. I love clothes. I'm not saying you don't need to take care of your body. I'm a, public person, so I'm always going to be taking care of those things. But those things are just things I can do. They don't bring me worth. Okay? I don't get my worth through that anymore. Like I used to. I thought, oh my gosh, if I'm not perfection, if I don't have the perfect body or whatever, then I'm not worthy. And I used to think that about money for a while. I thought, if I don't make a certain amount of money per month, I am unworthy. And I was not kidding. I was that black and white. I thought that in my 30s. I thought, oh my gosh, in my 20s, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta make, and I worked so hard, and I did. I made a lot of money, but I would get the money and it would be like, oh my gosh, now I gotta make more money. It's unquenchable. It's very carnal. It's not spiritual. It's not fulfilling. It doesn't really do anything. It's the big lie. Nothing outside of you can give you worth. You're never going to look perfect enough to be acceptable. You're never going to be able to get a good-looking enough man to make you worthy, or a man that has high status enough to make you worthy, because you cannot get anything that way. Status is a nice attribute. It's a nice accoutrement, but it is not nowhere near the nuts and bolts of relating. More important and more valuable is someone who has integrity, who is honest, who is loving, who is caring, who is generous, who is faithful. Those are qualities you look for in another person. And so for me, it's like I go and I notice these changes as I level up, as I realize, okay, and it's a constant. You always have to kind of calibrate or titrate this. I don't know how to say that word, but you have to really calibrate this and look for people in your life around you, not for what they can do for you in terms of helping your image. Because your image is not you. Your image is something that is a part of you, but it's not going to keep you warm at night. And it's not, you've got to be able to let go and be yourself. You've got to be able to love yourself, even if you don't look perfect, or, you lose your job and you don't have any money. You have to keep constant on the self-love, constant on building yourself up and making yourself realize that it's okay to be who you are. But then society judges, and there's these people, and you'll talk to them and they're on the old level where you were. And it's so bizarre because, if someone comes in your life and, they're expecting you to be like all how you used to be. Because the way I used to be was like, oh my God, I've got to be perfect at all times. I've got to look good because that's what everything hinges on, is how I look. I felt that was a weakness I had. I had to fix it. I had to heal that part of me. And I did. And now I don't feel that way anymore. And I've grown as a person. So when someone comes to me with expectations for me to be the person they used to know, which is someone who is really concerned about looking so fabulous all the time, and here I am being human and real and take it or leave it, because that's who I am and I love who I am, and if you don't like it, lump it, and I'm not even at that place anyway. So it's like, but then they might expect you to be like you used to be, where you're like running to catch up and always trying to get approval and always trying to be like, do I look okay? Or look, I lost 10 pounds. Or look, I did this and that. Okay. I did not lose 30 pounds. And you know what? I'm okay. I still love me. And, I'm pretty neutral on that. My worth does not hinge upon that. But if I want to, that's, fine too. It's healthy to stay active and work out and eat healthy. So the gist of what I'm trying to say is to heal the part of you that is overly concerned with externals, and heal the part of you that's overly trying to get approval from others and validation through the person that you're able to draw in. Because I don't care if you draw in the whoever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change who you are. It won't keep you warm at night. It doesn't who cares what people think? So everybody thinks you're wonderful. Who cares? Those people they're so fickle. One day they love you, one day they hate you. You really cannot live your life for what other people are impressed by. And you don't get your validation and worth that way. That may be what you're thinking, but it's actually harming you to think that way. So what we have to look for in others are people who listen when we talk, and people who care if something happens to us, or they care if we have something to say. They make room for us to speak, and they keep the ball going back and forth. They don't just run off with the ball. They toss the ball back and forth in an appropriate way. They respect boundaries. They don't freak out if you have a request or a need. They don't freak out if you tell them, no, I can't meet that need for you. I can't do that right now. Or, they have a respect. And then also, of course, you have to be attracted and all of that good stuff too. But I think that my point is that you are looking for a real person who's got some really strong skills and good integrity, way above looks. Looks is, icing on the cake. Icing on the cake. Because when somebody is a good person and they're treating you good, then you're intimate, you're building intimacy, and then intimacy is where the real sexiness comes. Okay, so that is today's podcast, and I hope you guys like it. Please like, share, and comment, because the comments really help the channel. And let me know what you think about this topic and other topics you want me to talk about. Until next time, this is Jenna. Talk to you soon.